am fight gym trainer. The trainer that's working with fighters is going to be in a place where they're going to be glad to know that it's your time, it's your era. There are three components that's going to assure that you have chosen the right field. And this isn't just conversation. This is really, I'm drawing a map for you guys to do this, and you won't ever have to rethink this again. If you listen to what I'm about to tell you, and you're working with fighters, but you kind of hit a roadblock and you don't see that next level to your ceiling because you're literally at a plateau. Structure is one thing, but these three components that we are going to directly give you the blueprint to is right here. So just pay attention and start taking notes and make sure that you understand that this is going to be the reason why everything that you dreamed about when you first started is going to come to fruition. So the number one thing when it comes down to why is this happening, all right, that first word would be attraction. And since 2020, which is the turn of the decade, we all know at the beginning the pandemic hit. But what happened is there have been a transition in the eyes of those who were not watching. And the new world order brought in, as the pandemic left out, it brought in something that everyone had to do during the pandemic. And what were you doing during the pandemic more than anything or anytime ever? You were on your phones. You were watching new creators. There were over 100 million brand new businesses started through YouTube. These things all happen because people realized during that time, I could either work a job, whether you were a person who went to work for the fire department, or if you were in the medical field, or if you were just someone who had a city position, and you realize then everything could be taken away. That's when people doubled down. That's where people started committing. And that's where the attention started being more important than diamonds. And when you start to think about that, think about how important it is when you're someone in the training field. So the number one thing, since it's been 4,000% increase just since that period of time, has shown you that this is important. And when you are working in the field of training and you are a coach of fighters, that is one of the most unaptitude things that you could actually accomplish, because maybe you go and become a trainer, but that does not mean David Benavidez is going to walk into your gym. Manny Pacquiao is going to walk into your gym. Canelo Alvarez is going to walk into your gym. But when you understand the next component, then you'll understand you don't need those guys. You can build your own guy. And what is that guy called? Before I get into that, this is all about building a culture, because when people believe in what you believe in and you have a bigger voice than them, that's where you build a following. There's a connection there. So we take time every single day, and what we do is we make sure that we execute polls. The polls are the most important part of connecting with your people, because when you can connect with your people will be able to let their guard down and tell you what it is that they're thinking. We do it every day. Does it take a lot of work? Absolutely. I probably have been going back and forth with you. I got people on our call schedule. I got people meet and greet. I got conversations, and I'm showing up at several events just because the connection. So you just got to do more than have a page. You got to do more than have a channel. You got to let people in, especially if you're cool. And I'm cool as hell. When it comes down to connecting with people and hearing them, I've learned that skill. So that makes me cool. When you're doing everything and it's just about you, that makes you guy, and that makes you uncool. So if you look at your social media and there's no value being given, you're just taking selfies, wrong. So we leave that and going into the next conversation. After you build a culture, you have to realize what they used to say about the American culture in the 80s is that they thought that they were creating people because so many people were so successful over here. Mike Tyson, Michael Jordan, Jack Nicklaus. It's all of these different superstar, mega impactful entities, and they were the biggest names on the globe, no matter what country you were in. That's why it's so important that if you're going to be successful, make sure you collaborate with someone in the US, because this is the mecca of success. You're not successful until you're successful over here. I didn't write the book, the numbers say it. All right. So I don't know many other stars in other countries. Now I'm global, but I don't know as many as you guys know. Most people from other countries know most of the stars over here. And so therefore you're in a popular market. So if you're training in the fight game and you understand how to groom a person, all you need is the blueprint to groom a fighter. And you can create that special fighter. And that fighter is called a hybrid fighter. And now I always make it clear when I have these conversations that this isn't a magical thing. The word hybrid is taking one different species or element and combining it with another and creating something different, unique, a unicorn. Okay. This is what we call the hybrid fighter. This person is offensively minded and has a devastating offensive prowess. They understand how to make and open up any defense. They are unstoppable. When they are on their A game, there's no one that can stop them. That's when you're talking about the likes of people like Archie Moore, the old mongoose, who literally start winning titles when he was in his 40s. And this was in the toughest eras of boxing, because the availability of the knowledge wasn't as accessible as it is today. You can learn about a lot of different things. Maybe you don't have an application to implement those things, but you can steal enough stuff, but you got to have application. Archie Moore, Jack Dempsey. When you look at Lomachenko, you're looking at a hybrid fighter, a person that can open up any defense. Sugar Ray Leonard, Sugar Ray Robinson, Mike Tyson of the 80s was a different breed. These guys have athleticism, but their athleticism isn't the most dynamic part of their tool chest. Their tool chest consists of offensive prowess, a maniacal drive, and they have the algorithm of a fighter. Even when these guys get hit and hurt, they fight. They don't back down. Now, you've seen guys who are athletic and got a lot of talent. But when it comes down to that moment where you saw the other side of them, you realize, oh, you're more human than you are an absolute hybrid. Hybrid is different. And so that's one of the components that we entail. Make sure that when you are training fighters, that you're giving them the edge. And the minute you get this coin says a lot. This coin tells you you're training on an entirely different level. And that's why the most important component to what we do is we make champions out of our trainers, so that our trainers can make champions. And so that's what you are going to see when you're in a gym that's pro am and it has those components. The components to hybrid fighter are the kind of fighters that attract people to the arena. The arena is packed. Javante Davis. The arena is packed because people are so curious as to what these individuals will do next. If you ever watch a training video of Sugar Ray Robinson with the rope, and you used to see him do things back in the 40s and 50s that you don't see guys able to do today, that's a hybrid. He has all of the things singing from heaven that's literally just totally taken over his body and created something unique. And that's what you're trying to develop. And when you got the right system, the system must contain of the variety of basics and the variety of advanced, and then the variety of unconventional styles. And then that fourth component is having the ability to pull it all together and make it their own. And when you put them in the ring, when you have all of those components, that is when you have developed a hybrid fighter. There's a checklist of everything that you'll need to accomplish, and there's the actual application, so you won't mess this up trying to overdo things. So But this is about the third component, because when that fighter is a hybrid fighter and you're developing them, you're the trainer developing hybrid fighters. See, these guys, they attract audiences who want to pay to see them. That's why Tank's place is so full. Every time you see him, his arena is packed. The pay-per-views are either upwards of 1 million sales or over. That is a powerful influx. Even with all of the devices that people are taking and still in the cable, they still are doing those kind of numbers. If you could sell 100,000 of anything for over $50, that's a $500,000 without including sports bars. So when you're developing your fighters, are you thinking about these components? All right. So because the third thing is not to leave from that, because once you start to get people to pay for everything, then endorsement deals start. See, it's a perfect time to be a fight trainer. If you're working with fighters and you're not really blowing your gym or your facility up, if it's not hitting that place, people want to see it. People want the smoke. I got people signing up to fight at the age and over the age of 60, because it's such a unique thing to know that you can have the ability to fight against another person if it boils to that, or compete against someone in the masters division, or go over to celebrity boxing, or have the opportunity to get on a card, a main event card. Because see, if you check on these boxes at your gym, that's what's going to happen. The new age of athlete, young man that I'm going to see on Saturday over at Brawlers in Miami, has 130 some thousand followers, and he's like 11, but he's a real fighter. He's not one of these guys who started at 25 years old. He started early, but he understands the importance. So he's around, he got pictures with Mayweather and Canelo and stars, and people know him, and he's already built a personal brand. Now, does he have the thumbprint of it yet? No, because he's developing who he is, but he's going to have the following and the fan interest, and he's going to get endorsements if he hadn't already started, because I've already seen him with products in hand. And he's 11 years old, and I'm going to cover him this Saturday. Call the fights, let you guys in on it, and let you see that that's one of the components. As I talk to you, my job is to bring awareness to what we do in Champions University, which is the Pro-Am fight program. That fight gym is real. People want a part of it. They just don't know how to take part in it. So it's our job as leaders to give them the opportunity to take part in what it is that you do. And can you turn me into that next level? Do you actually have the components? Now, it took me 4 decades to create and build this, because see, the hybrid fighter wasn't new. It's just a blueprint on how to develop a person into one now. Whereas before, if you weren't born with all of these genes, these heightened senses of awareness and a deep-seated anger, you couldn't be one. But now there's a training process that will encompass everything that you need. And there are tests to make sure that you are passing the test when it's all boiled down to it. So if you working with fighters and you're not bringing this game to the next level, then that's a you thing. But this third thing, the massive appeal, what generates more interest than anything is the fact that you built such a monster, because there's hundreds of millions of people just with eyes on our account. So what'll happen if you think you become and build these people as athletes? Remember, we make the trainers the champions. You get it? We make champions out of the trainers so that they can make champions out of the fighters, and that fighter can champion their story. And there won't be people that are in positions at the end of this thing anymore who's struggling to make ends meet. They understand the validity of being a voice, being someone who has the wherewithal to build their personal brand in the age of social media, where you can do this thing for free, organically. Now, the last but not least thing that you will have the ability to do is what most of you start your gyms off of. You wanted to give back, but you don't have a pot to piss in. So you got it reverse. You put the cart before the horse. You have to build the thing, the mecca, and then give back, because the last part is your charitable initiative. And that's giving back to the communities that served you, that commit to you, that want to know how you did it, and you can give that back to them. Signings, moments where people can come into the gym and just take part. You don't even charge people when you get to that level. And the average gym owner will be making, if you're working with fighters, $1.7 million on this business model.
I'm sure you've heard the news. There's a way to become unbeatable in the ring. Ready to find out how? If you're tired of getting hit and struggling to control your rage, it's time to level up. Master these two key aspects of the sweet science, and you'll become what we call a hybrid fighter. How do you master this? I'm going to give you something to do every day the exact same way. First, learn to protect yourself at all times. Cover your blind spots. Master when to use angles. Right now you're using them at the wrong times. You must do it when they don't know it's coming. Think Vasily Lomachenko. He's a hybrid. Next, learn to stay relaxed. This happens when you know how to cover your checkpoints and have 100% confidence that your blind spots are covered or out of range. Want to know when to create angles and master defending your blind spots? To become a hybrid version of yourself. Remember, a hybrid's not the perfect fighter, they're the perfect weapon. Ready to become unstoppable? Let's make it happen.